Hello, everyone, and welcome back down here to the Gamer's Den with me, your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. Now, for D20 Modern and fixing it and going over all the various things, I'm bringing before you today another advanced class that's in this case, it's not particularly broken so much as it's another class that doesn't really do a whole lot for you. I guess in that regard mechanically, it's not great. It doesn't give you a whole lot of bonuses, but it does have some great ideas behind it. They just need to be tweaked and adjusted just a little bit more to take them to that point where the class actually begins to benefit you a great deal more. The class I'm talking about today is the Shadowjack. The Shadowjack was meant to be another computer oriented kind of hacker sort of character with a little bit of a twist to it, a magical twist, in fact, which was, again, really cool, really great idea, but didn't really. It felt more like a tacked on addition than it was something that really did much to help you either in your computer use skills or in any sort of magical ability. The abilities, again, were neat, good ideas, but they just didn't get tied together very well. And so that's what we're going to try to fix today. To begin with, for the Shadowjack, the requirements to get into this class are computer use 6 ranks, craft electronics 6 ranks, and disable device of 6 ranks. The fastest way into this class is through the Smart Hero base class. For your hit dice, you get 1d6, your usual number of action points at 6 plus 1, half your character level rounded down. Skill points, you get 7 plus your intelligence modifier, and your class skills are computer use, craft, electronic, mechanical, and writing, decipher script, disable device, forgery, gamble, gather information, intimidate, knowledge arcana, knowledge arcane lore, current events, history, pop culture, and technology. Then you also have profession, read and write language, repair, research, speak language, and search. Your base attack bonus, you don't get a good progression here. You start off at 0, and then by level 10, you top out at a plus 5. For your fortitude saves and your reflex saves, you get the slow, terrible progression here. Again, beginning at a 0 and then ending at a 3 for both of those. Your will saves are definitely really solid, though. You start off at a 2, and by level 10, you're ending up with a plus 7 total. Your defense bonus is on an okay progression. You get start off at a 1 and then you end at a 5. Certainly never hurts to have more defensive ability. And then your reputation bonus, well, that stays at a nice solid 0 and then you end up with a 3, so you really don't get a whole lot going on there. And then for your class abilities, at level 1 you get read and write code. The Shadowjack readily understands the nature of code and what it's meant to do. Using Decipher Script, DC 10 plus the script author's computer use skill modifier, so whatever their total skill modifier is for computer use, to determine the function of any program and any bugs or potential weaknesses. If weak points are found, the Shadowjack gains a plus 2 bonus on computer use checks made to degrade the program. I mean, it's nice. It's nice. It makes sense. The ability overall makes sense, but it's just a plus 2 bonus. It's helpful, but it's helpful for one specific situation with computer use. And this is a class that is already specialized and focused on one particular thing that doesn't get a whole lot of use in many other areas. Uh, there's not a whole lot of other utility here other than everything built around computers, which it's not necessarily bad, especially in a modern day setting or even a futuristic setting where technology is ubiquitous, useful, everywhere, plenty of access. But if you're going into a post apocalyptic setting, your character is going to be very limited in how useful they are. And basically, any setting or any situation where technology is not involved, you're going to be struggling to do much of anything. And then at level 2, you get online presence. When attempting to use a charisma based skill such as your bluff, intimidate, diplomacy, or gather information in an online situation, the Shadowjack adds any Shadowjack levels as a circumstance bonus. which that does make sense. This is actually not too bad of an ability. I mean, the fact that it's your advanced class levels as a bonus to these skills that otherwise you may not have the charisma for or may not have put a whole lot of points into, this can help boost a little bit. But it comes back to being tied to technology. This is only in an online situation, which again, it makes sense, but you're definitely very limited in where, when, and where this is a useful ability. Then you get bonus feats at 3rd, 6th, and 9th level, and you select from the following list: Alertness, Arcane Skills, Builder, Cautious, Educated, Gearhead, Lightning Reflexes, Low Profile, Meticulous, Renown, Studious, and Windfall. Now, Low Profile and Renown, those affect your reputation bonus, which the usefulness of those feats of that particular score is really dependent on how much the DM decides to fixate on it. So taking those feats can either be incredibly useful or be worth absolutely nothing to you. So I'd say you're probably safe skipping those feats unless your DM makes it clear and has been making active effort to utilize those skills or those feats, so that trait. But otherwise, this list is okay. It's not bad. It's certainly built around uh, focusing on your various knowledge skills, your intelligence-based skills, which are going to be useful for a computer-focused character. And then at level 4, and basically from most of the levels here on out, you gain various Shadowjack abilities. And so this is where things get a little bit interesting, because on the one hand, you're getting more abilities than most other advanced classes do. This is a bit more comparable to a wizard. You're a little literal technological wizard. But on the other hand, again, they're only useful in an online situation. And while a lot of these have great flavor ideas, these fit the particular model of character they're trying to go for here, they don't do as much for you as they could. To begin with, for one of your level 4 Shadowjack abilities, you gain electronic empathy. You gain a +2 bonus when repairing or disabling electronic devices, in addition to any synergy bonuses for related skills. Again, nice idea, but not that great of a bonus. I mean, it's a +2. Careful progress. When the Shadowjack attempts to defeat computer security, the administrator is alerted only if the Shadowjack fails his computer check by 10 or more. That's actually not bad. That's a pretty solid ability right there, and it makes sense. You're not even when you fail, you're not likely to be announcing your presence online or in an online situation. You're good at covering your tracks and causing minimal disruptions. Really like that ability. And then for your level 5 Shadowjack abilities, you pick up False Trail. When covering their tracks on the internet, the Shadowjack can lay a false trail. On a successful DC 25 computer use check, the Shadowjack imposes a -5 penalty on any trace attempt, as described in the defend security function on the computer use skill. If the trace fails by 10 or more, the tracker follows the Shadowjack's false trail to a random internet address. If the trace fails by 5 or less, the tracker realizes that the trail is bogus and gives up. So again, this is actually a really good idea, neat idea, and it fits. It's something that's plausible, but I don't know. It feels like there could be a little bit more done here with this one. Although false trail, again, it's a neat idea and it makes sense. But the thing is that I don't know. There should be something else here or something more going on. And then you also get install backdoor. The Shadowjack may install a backdoor to a system they've broken into, making it easier to break into in the future. Writing and installing the program requires a computer use check, see the chart down below, but once installed, it automatically bypasses system security. And then for that particular chart, the level of security DC minimum is 25, average is 30, exceptional is 40, maximum is 45. It's important to keep backdoors hidden from the system administrator, who will always be alert for such invasions. A backdoor automatically allows the Shadowjack entrance to a particular system, but every time it's used, they must make an opposed computer use check against the administrator. Failure means the backdoor is discovered and will be deleted before the next time the Shadowjack returns. So basically, they're going to patch out that particular weakness and remove your whatever script or coding you have that has created that or has exploited that particular weakness. Then we come to the level 7 Shadowjack abilities. Online presence, online spell resistance. The Shadowjack becomes harder to hurt by spells and spell-like abilities sent through email and electronic devices, including the Technomage's online spellcasting ability, as well as magical items which use electronic components. The Shadowjack gains a spell resistance equal to 10 plus his Shadowjack levels. This is a supernatural ability. Again, I really like this, and spell resistance is actually really useful, particularly, again, in settings where magic is actually a thing. This will be very handy. This is one ability that that I think is great, I think is useful, but here's the catch though. It's again limited to only spells that are cast online, which is very, very specific. I mean, you have to wonder exactly how many times, how often are you going up against technomages. Now, if you're fighting a gang, a cartel, or some kind of crime syndicate that's made up almost exclusively of technomages with a small smattering of other thugs, goons, gangsters, whatever, that are mixed into the group, then yeah, this will probably be a very useful ability that just pays dividends to you. But that's a very specific scenario that is created and tailored to fit the character, for the characters to deal with. And that's, while DMs should be doing that to a certain extent, they also have to challenge you in other ways. And unfortunately, this ability does not provide enough for your character. And then we have improved degradation. The Shadowjack's attempts to alter and degrade existing programming get more insidious. The degradation is installed as normal, as described in the degrade programming function and computer use skill. However, unless the computer use check to fix the degraded program exceeds the DC by 5, the degradation returns within 6 hours. This happens automatically. The Shadowjack does not have to make a second check. I like this ability. This is a great build and improvement from the previous degradation ability that the Shadowjack had gotten. This is cool. I like it. I like that it comes back. And this definitely is, again, more of a deviation from normal programming as far as I understand it. Not that I'm regular program. I don't do coding. I don't write programs or create programs. But the limited understanding I have, this feels a bit more magically oriented than real world grounded technical coding abilities. And then for level 8 Shadowjack abilities, we have Pass Firewall. When attempting to defeat computer security, the administrator is alerted only if the Shadowjack rolls a 1 on his computer use check. Really cool. That's actually very, very devastating for this particular situation, for this particular skill. And then we have Walking Database. Gain the supernatural ability to recall vast amounts of information gleaned while traveling through cyberspace. Spend an action point and then substitute their computer use score instead of a knowledge score for the purposes of 1 check. That is also really cool and is one of the few abilities that provides benefit outside of using their computers. It's still tied to their computer use abilities and is explained by all those abilities, but provides outside meat space benefits. And for their final capstone ability, this one is again a really cool, very interesting idea. It's virtual incantations. You gain the spell-like ability to use a computer to cast incantations. This reduces the number of secondary casters required by 10. A successful computer use check with a DC equal to the incantation's skill DC reduces the cast time to 1/10 of its time. All the other requirements for the incantations, such as components, saving throws, and the backlash, remain the same. So that's actually, again, really cool. And my only question on it is, only question I would want to have clarified is, do the incantations work in real space using your computer as basically secondary casters? Are you able to manifest this in real space in your location? Can you send the spells through the internet? Can they affect things on the internet? That's something I'd want to clarify a little bit more. But this is still a very cool ability, very neat idea. And I think the fact that it's left open-ended, to me, especially given that so much of this game was left open-ended, means that the creators were intending to have a little bit of flexibility overall with some of these abilities for DMs to be able to interpret yes or no or maybe given the situation. But that lack of clarity also leads to a lot of problems and inconsistencies. So I think it's better to be clear rather than open-ended and vague. And so DMs out there, if you're running this class, whether or not you make fixes to it, whether or not you go with my fixes to it, be clear and consistent when it comes to your ruling on these abilities. So for virtual incantations, if you decide that these abilities are indeed able to affect meat space as per their rules, they are able to be cast into reality and not through the internet, then that's going to be how it goes every single time. If you break that rule, there has to be a reason for it and an explanation. But that's a whole nother can of worms to open up and dig into. For now, we're going to go ahead and call it here, and I'm going to get to work on retooling and fixing up this class. And I'm going to let you all in on a secret. Only some of these classes are I've gone over previously and had ideas on fixes. The thing is that when I thought these classes needed to be fixed, I did not have the experience, skill, or knowledge necessary to fix them all at the time. Most of these I am coming up with off the top of my head after reading them and going over them. And as I work on these slides and produce these videos, I've already got a ton of ideas, a plethora, a bevy, a veritable brigade of things to bring to the Shadowjack class in order to improve it overall. But we're going to go ahead and call it there. If you enjoyed today's video, go on down there and hit the like button and go into the comments and let me know what you thought, where you agree, where you disagree. Or hell, even if you didn't like the video and you think I'm completely off my rocker, off base, and nowhere near close to right, hit the dislike button and let me know about that too. The only way to improve is to engage, debate, and also have flaws in my reasoning pointed out to me. But, if you did enjoy today's video, then I've got good news for you. There are going to be 2 more popping up over this way that you might enjoy. One is something that the almighty, all-powerful, all-knowing Wizard of Google has decided that you will enjoy from this channel as well. The other is something else that I've cooked up rather recently and you may enjoy as well. At least I'd like to think so. But hell, if this hasn't been your first stop here at the Gamer's Den, then clearly you're enjoying something about this place. Go on down there, hit the subscribe button, and become a regular member here at the Gamer's Den. Certainly, I'd appreciate it. Always happy to have more friends, nerds, gamers, and alumni here for the Den. But with that said, I've been your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. Thank you all so very much for your time, and you all have yourselves a good night.